Wait, you guys have to pay to play Helldivers 2 online?
Matt, you quiet, goddamn well know that's the case. Don't you act surprised. Don't bring this PC Master Race bullshit into this conversation now. I know that's where you're going with this.
Yes, we have to pay for our internet and our PlayStation Plus. Damn it.
You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Nick, Alex, I Yield to No One, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
Yeah, I couldn't hear the end of that, so therefore I had to wait for you to call me out. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trophy Horrors, episode number 673. I will be your host tonight. As per usual, the Grinelli takeover seems to still be in effect, even though we have the whole crew here. That includes Tricky.
What's up, guys? Sorry I missed last week. I was too busy saving New York, both in the division and in real life.
Sure. New York was standing quite well, so thank you, Tricky. Also included tonight, Alex.
Oh, that's some bullshit right there. I'll tell you what. I don't even think someone as strong as Superman could save New York if we're really talking about saving New York.
And I don't know, a good segue from there. So Yield's here too. What's up, Yield?
Well, at least Tricky remembered I was coming this week.
I'm allowed senior moments. I'm getting old.
You mean how you told me technical difficulties and Yield might not be on, whereas actually Yield was just at a family gathering?
Yeah. Listen, that's exactly I said Yield might have technical issues because he's had problems with Discord in the past. That's what I said that for. I totally forgot he said he was going to Madagascar, or was it Nicaragua?
Well, the first time was Madagascar, but this time was Nicaragua because we thought we might have more success. And he just happened to decide to take the whole family down on vacation so everyone could enjoy the sights.
Yeah, we went to Titicaca.
I thought that was the week before, so that was my mistake.
Well, I didn't see any new listeners come in from Madagascar or Nicaragua, so debates whether he was actually there or not.
I don't know. Maybe we need to try Canada next.
Do we really want Canadian listeners? Just kidding. Love you, Canada. What I also love is our trophy counts. Let's go into our updated counts, gentlemen. Tricky?
I am level 968, total trophies of 34,471 with 999 plats. I got 2 this week, but we don't have to talk about them.
Okay, well, you're 1 away from that magical 1,000. Have you come to a decision on what your 1,000's going to be?
Can I guess?
I was what?
My guess is going to be spam.
Assassin's Creed Shadows? It's either going to be Assassin's Creed Shadows or Horizon Remastered.
Well, it was going to be Shadows, and until a trophy glitched on me. So now I don't know what I'm going to do.
Is there no workaround?
Not that I see. It just, according to PSN profiles, it says it's buggy, and that's all it says.
Not buggy are Alex's updated counts.
No, Matt, certainly not. Level 521, total trophy count of 10,630, and a platinum count of 193 in 192 games.
Nice. And Yield?
So I am sitting at 530 with a trophy count of 11,136 and a platinum count of 214. Not to be outdone, I got 2 platinums since I've last been on.
Very good. I am level 222, still at that magical 1,337 trophies, and not to be outdone by these gentlemen. I still have 0 platinums. And Sid is level 893 with 27,346, 851 plats. So with that, we also talk about trophies in a different form here. Tricky, do we have a trophy rarity contest update?
Yeah, we have an update. Garrett sent me the update. Pee Wee pulls away at the top of Division 1 with a score of 82 points this week and now has 1,799 points. Market Frazier moves back in the second after Diego has negative points due to decay but stays in third at 1,669. There was no movement further down the table as... Oh, excuse me. There was movement further down the table as Mr. TMT and Gaz Davis moved up 1 place each to 9th and 10th at the expense of California Wayne, who dropped down 2 places. The bottom 4 all had productive weeks, but it's Alex who leapfrogs Tricky into the final safety spot of the division. Alex scored 35 points, moving him to 13th at 348 points, and Tricky has 23 points, but drops in the regulation zone at 340. Resident
Oh,
and...
yeah.
Yeah, that you're already past it, just so you know that.
What?
Daryl,
What?
I've already passed you.
Hate to tell you this, man, but I'm playing a game that's got a bunch of rare trophies, so we'll see how long you stay ahead of me.
Well, if I get the platinum in Assassin's Creed, you ain't got a shot, brother. That's an easy 20 points right there.
You do know that well, first of all, you just talked about a buggy, glitchy trophy, so I don't know how, you're going to be getting that platinum trophy, but also, we all know how those Assassin's Creed platinum shake out. Not very well as far as rarity go.
Well, this one's pretty rare right now. All right,
Oh,
let me
right
keep
now,
going.
that shit's going to decay, though, and you damn well know that.
Let me stop derailing me. We got Big Garrett giving us an update here. Resident
Big Gareth, is that what we call him these days? We call him Big Gareth?
Big Bart did well.
Call me Big Gaz when I back that thing up.
They scored 27 and 25 points, but stay in 15th and 16th. Yield stays in the top 6th in the top half after scoring 20 points and is on 914 points. Rick top scored in the division with 116 and stays in 4th place. There were no changes at all in Division 2 overall. A fairly low score in the week, with the Grounded Gamer top scoring in the division with 36 points, keeping him in 5th. Means the top 3 are still Doc Chicken, Psychiatrist, and CJ. Goliath scored 15 points again for the 2nd consecutive week, taking her up to 31 points in 18th. The rarest trophies of the week are the following in reverse order. 5th, and for the first time they've ever appeared in the rarest trophies of the week in 4 seasons, goes to Kalai for High Death in Neon Abyss at 6.54%. Dupes for Time Capsule in a game called Fantasy Life 1, The Girl Who Steals Time at 6.02 rarity. California Wayne, Constructive Criticism in Skate 3 at 5.29%. Pee Wee with Cult Movie in GTA 5 at 4.68%. And Red Beer Rick takes the top spot, talking about team practice, with 2.29% in Skate 3 as well. Not many plats this week, but they go out to the Brain with his first plat of the year in Helldivers 2. Congrats, Brain. Pee Wee in Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. Wait, that's not the new one, right?
The new one. Nope.
Great Circle is the new one. Staff of Kings is on PSN Plus. It's under the premium catalog.
10-4. Just took me off for a second. Diego in Doom: The Dark Ages. And the rarest plat of the week goes to Rick with Stardew Valley. Yield gets a shout out in Serial Killers and Pac-Man World Repack.
Thank you for the update. Appreciate it. Good job, you guys. For those of you that went up the ranks, if you didn't, well, tough noogies. So to do all that, obviously you guys have to have been playing some games this week. Tricky, you alluded to Saving New York in Division 2. You play anything else this week?
Other than Assassin's Creed Shadows, no. I've been just going hard into that. I Funny thing, I beat the game, didn't know I beat the game. I was just tagging along doing missions. All of a sudden, I finished the mission and the credits started rolling. I had no idea I was even that close to finishing the game. And then it's just trophy cleanup. I got a bunch of like stupid trophies to get.
I thought you get those all the time.
Well, I was gonna say Matt's gonna say all trophies are stupid, but like the trophies I got left to get, I have to get fully upgrade your tools and ammunition. That's the one that bugged out on me. I should have that right now. I got to kick an enemy from a high place. Think of like 300, like this is Sparta. I just got to do that. But the problem is that you have to find an enemy up on the ledge, and he has to die from the fall. He can't die from the kick, and he can't die from, or he can't stand back up. Got to perform a finisher on an enemy that's both poisoned and dazed. That's a little bit of a thing. Sheath your weapon immediately after an enemy dies from bleed. That's like pretty trivial. And then the other ones are just complete a contract in each province, and then complete some certain things on the map. Luckily, you don't have to go to every location. I think I only have like 50% of the map actually unlocked, so that's good. But if that trophy doesn't unlock, there's a problem. But I do want to. I think I asked you guys about this, but according to PYX, the trophies only unlock if the game's on the line. How do you guys feel about that?
Good old Ubisoft.
I think it's stupid. I mean, I understand, like, you have to be online to sync your trophies, but for it to unlock, like, if you, you do something, and the game file recognizes you did it, and you're not online to get the trophy, and it somehow bugs out the trophy, like, ain't playing none of your games no more. Not playing that game. Sorry, that's, if you have to be always online to get a trophy, nah, I'm out.
And Yield?
So it was like, that's Ubisoft for you.
All right, that's
Trick,
all
you
I've
gonna
been
defend
playing.
your boys Ubisoft any over that?
No, I think this is a horrible decision.
Is it actually true? Has there been verification to it?
I don't know. I'm looking on Power PYX. It says under glitch trophies, it says none, but also all of them. Every trophy unlocks fine, and platinum is obtainable. But if the game loses online connection to Ubisoft servers, then trophies won't unlock. This could be especially problematic with story-related trophies late in the game, as these might not unlock if there are connectivity issues. Keep a manual save after defeating each of the 12 bosses. Then, if something story-related glitches, you'll have a save to redo it quickly. Spread out the remaining manual save slots evenly for the open world cleanup, so you have a manual save every few hours if something doesn't unlock. Trophies often have delayed unlocks and pop in the Animus Hub after rebooting the game or during the in-game loading screen when reloading the save. If some trophies never unlock, you can link a new Uplay account to your profile, delete local saves, reinstall a game, and replay. That's what it says on Power PYX.
I hate to say it, but like literally the best reason to have PlayStation Plus is for, I mean, the free games are nice, but really to back up your saves online in the cloud. Best reason to have PlayStation Plus. Best feature of everything. So, and it's because of bullshit like that. In case you need to re-download a save file to play a section again, so you don't have to play the entire game again.
Matt, I know you don't care about trophies, but what do you think about this overall?
Well, you know my feelings on always online connections, especially for single player games. It's bullshit. They shouldn't have to do that. I have no stake in the trophy game, but it sucks that you guys have to do that to be able to do the thing with gaming that you love.
I mean, like Matt said, it's not just about trophies. Like having an always online connection, like yes, if you're playing online multiplayer, I get it.
Yep.
I get it.
Makes sense.
But when you're just playing a game that you spent money on, whether you just have the license to play it. It's dumb as shit. I don't care about just trophies. Like, having to be always online to play a game that's, offline, I guess I should say, in air quotes, is really dumb. And it's a pretty terrible trend, the way that, like, that entire mindset's going for the industry. Because I hate it. Because, some nights it's particularly stormy now during spring here in Kentucky. You got storms all the time. And, like, never guarantee that you're not going to lose your internet connection, and, you maybe want to play something, I don't know, while you don't have an internet connection. I don't know. It's just really stupid all around, not just for the sake of trophies.
All right. That's all I've been playing.
All right, Yield, you were not around last week, so let's see what you've been doing up to.
So I've been playing some Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. I played a little bit of Star Wars Outlaws. I gotta work on that a little bit more. That might be more of what I work on in June or the tail end of this week. Did a little bit of World of Warship Legends just to kind of see how my bureau had come along today. Yeah, I played some Rocket League. Got annoyed with my teammates after 3 games. 2 weeks ago, because I wasn't here, I platinum SnowRunners. So now I'm on to probably tomorrow. We'll start Roadcraft. Played Serial Cleaners. That was my platinum one this week, which is the sequel to Serial Cleaner, which I platinumed a month or 2 ago, which was a fun game, fun sequel. I think the original's better, but this one isn't bad. As you also heard at the beginning, I got the Pac-Man World Repack Platinum, which freaking stoked. Finally got through level 9.
Yeah, all of Facebook heard about that.
Because I was freaking excited. So I got to level 9 a week ago Saturday. So a week ago from yesterday, I finally got to level 9, and I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I can do it." For this past Friday, I got to it 3 times. And I was just like, man, if I can just get there with one extra guy, I've got this. So I'm sitting down yesterday, and I'm playing, and I finally got there with one extra guy, and wouldn't you know it, I didn't get it. And I was annoyed at myself, because it's not that the ghost will occasionally throw you a curveball and go kind of a different pattern, but it was me just doing stupid stuff. Like, I swear I would zig, and he wouldn't. He'd keep going straight and then run into the ghost. So I kind of just kept at it. I kind of redefined my patterns in later rounds, kind of, well, I'm going to go this way. And finally I got it. Not only did I beat 9, I beat 10, and they got me in 11. So, but at that point I'm like, good, I got it, check mark, done. I can move on. And then I finally dumped back into some Helldivers 2. It's been a minute. And I helped Riley get his platinum in Helldivers 2. And then last night, that was Friday night. And then last night, Nitro and I were playing. And I helped him get all of the more difficult trophies. Like the Survive on Extreme and Nobody Die, the Gone in 360, the Hold My Primary, helped him get those trophies. And then now for here on out for him, it's just kind of focus on a specific trophy, weapon wise, or just play the game and get kills and stuff like that. So he's got all the more quote unquote difficult ones out of the way. So he should be getting the platinum here maybe in a couple of months. So, but I think that's everything that I've played. Oh, and we had our monthly video game get together few weeks ago, or within the time that I've been on, and I played some Everybody's Golf, which I won. Finally, I normally get beat, and we played some Just Cause 3, passed the controller around, and I think that's everything I've played in the last 2 weeks.
It's been a hot minute since I played any game that's a pass the controller around. My friend and I used to do that with Grand Theft Auto. we would just try to
that's fun.
cause as much chaos as possible. And when we die or get arrested, pass over the controller.
So when this friend hosts, a lot of times that's what we do. You know, we'll play a round or two of everybody's golf. And then it's like, well, you know, what game are you playing? And we had helped him get the platinum in Just Cause 4. And we were kind of searching through his system. We're like, oh, Just Cause 3. Well, let's do that. And so we all just kind of, you know, we play until, unless you die fairly quickly, you kind of play until you pass the mission or you die. And then here, your turn. You toss the controller over and then they do the same thing. And everybody, we kind of just, it's fun times because you can make fun of each other while they mess up. So.
Okay. Alex, why don't you regale us with what's been in your playlist this week?
Doing some more super credit grinding, farming in Helldivers 2, and I'll tell you what, I know the Illuminates are knocking on the door of Super Earth, so currently we're trying to beat them back from getting at our entire operation, but I could give a fuck less. You know, here's the thing. What I learned last year when we defeated the automatons and then they brought them back is there's nothing I can really do to win this war. It really is going to be when they being Arrowhead, decide to let us win this war. So I've decided I don't give a fuck. Don't get me wrong, I'll collect my medals from the major orders and stuff like that to put towards my war bonds. But as far as like whether or not the Illuminate are like right in the planetary system next to Super Earth or if they're attacking Super Earth, I don't care. Because nothing I do is going to make it so that we win. It's all in the hands of the game masters and the people at Arrowhead. So even though we had a spike in players, at least a few days that I saw, where you had like 150,000 people, 154,000 people, I think, trying to defend Super Earth, I'm just going to go to Vernon Wells and go get me some super credits for the next war bond. So be a little prepped there for that. So Matt, Yield, sorry fellas, I'm not really helping the cause much. Tricky, I would say you, but you don't play Helldivers.
Matt or Alex,
the other game,
I was like, don't feel ashamed because I feel the same way.
Well, good. It takes two to tango, Yield, and I'm sure we could do a fine dance. But the other game I've been playing, I talked about it last week, Arcade Paradise. I was just kind of getting my feet wet in that game. Now I've done a lot more, and I kind of have swung more. From what I understand, eventually the entire laundromat operation gets taken over by the arcade, because early on you find that your arcade machines are far more successful in bringing more money than the laundromat. So it's like, you know, eventually it's a slow transition to basically just a full-blown arcade, and which I wanted because I kind of want to focus on the arcade aspect. The laundromat aspect it's a good way to start. It's a good way to get the story rolling, but it's kind of just boring in general to run the laundromat. You know, picking up trash, picking up gum, cleaning the toilet, you know, putting the laundry in the washing machine, putting it in the dryer. It's just kind of boring. So the arcade side of it is more fun. Although I will say, as far as the sim goes, it's not super intense. Like, yeah, when you do the arcade stuff, like you do have some decision capacity where you affect what the machines make, like what your intake is. Like you can figure out where to place the machines. Like if you've got a machine that's not very popular, you can place it next to a machine that's super popular, and it should help that other machine have an uptick in sales. You also can, the more you play an arcade machine, the more popular it becomes. So you got other things like you can change the difficulty level. Like if you make it a hard game, it means that people burn through quarters faster. But of course, in certain situations, people get really pissed about that. Like they feel they waste their money, so they don't always go to that machine. So you may lose money there. And you can toggle like how much money it costs to play the game. So it's kind of finding that sweet spot of what's going to make you the most money. So you have some decisional capacity, but for the most part, like it's a really light touch as far as the simulation aspect goes, because running the arcade just really doesn't. Like where I'm at in the game, most of what you're going to be doing is playing the arcade games themselves. Like trying to get high scores, trying to do different goals within the games in order to get trophies. Because I saw people online say that, or at least one person online say that the game is a fun game, but not a fun game to platinum. And I would argue that without the trophies, this game just is kind of shallow. Because really what you're relying on is just people wanting to play the arcade games themselves. Now, don't get me wrong, the arcade games are a lot of fun. I like a lot of them. Not all of them are winners, but for the most part, a lot of them are fun, and I do like to play them. But really, the trophies tied to those arcade machines are what you going to kind of keep you coming back daily to play the game. So the whole grind of running the laundromat / the arcade it's okay. It's not super intense. It's what I would want because I don't really want an intense sim. I would more like to just play the game. So for me, the game is kind of perfect. But really, the depth is in playing the games themselves because it's just to a certain point where the machines are just bringing in money, which you can use to buy new machines. But the whole aspect of running the show just isn't really all that difficult. It's pretty easy, not a lot to do. So a lot of your time is just going to be whittled away, with the joysticks and the buttons and just pounding the quarters into the machine. So, but overall, I'm having a lot of fun with Arcade Paradise. But yeah, it's I mean that's really all I have to say is like my one wish that was that I would be more with the arcade and less with the laundromat, and I'm getting that now. So the developers are kind of giving me exactly what I want. So, but yeah, I'm still got more machines to buy, more games to play. It is a little bit of a grind as far as getting some of the trophies, but overall, like nothing that I can see is too bad. Like I'm not anywhere near done playing the game or feeling like I've exhausted my fun with the game, and so I don't feel like it's a game where it says like 40 hours on the trophy guide to get the platinum, and I just having played what I've played so far and knowing there's more games coming, there's a lot of variety. Like I said, a lot of good quality with the games themselves, the arcades. So I don't feel like I'm gonna burn out anytime soon. So I am appreciating my time in Arcade Paradise, even if the sim aspects are a little shallow.
Excellent. Anything else?
And yeah, that is all I have been playing.
Awesome. It's been kind of a simple week for me. A lot of Doom: The Dark Ages. I'm probably about halfway through all the chapters. I don't know if that necessarily means I'm halfway through the game, but definitely making progress, getting new weapons, doing upgrades, getting to the point where
making progress, la la la.
Good reference.
For all you Nightmare fans out there.
Literally, I was just looking at the Nightmare Before Christmas Lego set, reminding myself that once we move, we'll have to finish that build. So just continuing getting weapons, doing upgrades, trying to complete each chapter as much as possible. To do that, you have to get all the gold, all of the collectibles, all of the currency that they use. They use like rubies and things like that. So if not, it's making me also hanker to go back to play some of the older Doom games as well, because they're just a lot of fun. I too have been playing Helldivers 2, and I have answered the call to go to Super Earth and defend against the Illuminate. And without spoiling much, there's some new enemy types that they introduced as part of it that truly gave me some what the fuck moments.
The big guy
I decided
with the 4 hands?
That's one of them, yes, but I'm talking about something even bigger.
Who's he? What's he with? How many hands?
Yes, they're called meat mobs, meat something or other. Just imagine an amalgamation of a number of you know the Rat King from The Last of Us 2?
I was actually going to go there with that. I was going to ask if it was like the Rat King.
Basically. No, there's something much bigger flying the skies of Super Earth, and I found having the anti-tank emplacement is a good defense. So if you happen to visit Super Earth, make sure you bring one of those.
The strafing ship or the Leviathan?
The Leviathan. Yes, it has ruined a number of my my runs.
Matt, I got a question about Doom.
Yep.
So, when did Doom... Was it with Doom 2016? When did Doom become cool again? Because I feel like, obviously, it was a game popular in the 90s. The real, like... I don't know if it was the first-person shooter, but clearly it was one of, like, the early success stories of the FPS genre. When did Doom become cool again?
All right. So... the early Dooms were... some of the best FPS experiences you could have back then. Then Doom 3 came out. And that was 2004-ish, 2003-ish. And it kind of took away what Doom was seen as. And prior to that, it was Doom, Doom 2, Doom, the final levels, the final edition, whatever it was, Doom 64.
Doom 2, Doom harder.
It literally doomed harder. And it kind of cooled for a while because after Doom 3, there was a long period. You got to remember Doom 3 came out again in 2003, 2004. And Doom 2016, that's 14-year difference in that. Now, in the meantime, id was working on a couple other things, including Quake 4 and some other items. But Doom 2016 was seen as the revival of what the originals were, because Doom 3 was a very claustrophobic, dark corridor, monster closet based game. Well, it was a sharp contrast from what was Doom and Doom 2. Doom 2016, a lot of people saw as being the return to the series roots. So, to answer your question, 2016.
So I was right.
Yes.
In Doom 2016, because I feel like obviously it's a classic franchise, but I feel like in recent years, especially with Doom: The Dark Ages, it's like super popular again. And I feel like there was that lull in between where like Gearbox would have really liked Duke Nukem to get that treatment and that love, but instead like Doom has been kind of that franchise where we remember from the old days, but everything that's old is new again, and people love Doom a lot now again. Doom for a new generation.
Love it or hate it, id is a master craft of what they do, and each Doom game brought something else, something different to the table. And whatever they did well. You know, there was a lot of people who didn't like the juggling that had to be done in Doom Eternal, but it was still done well. It was still mechanically sound and perfected. So I don't know. It's just Doom 2016, Doom Eternal, and Doom: The Dark Ages all bring something different to the table. My biggest complaint is the fallout that it had with Mick Gordon. So, because the music on Doom 26 or Doom: The Dark Ages it actually kind of leaves me a little depressed because it isn't Mick Gordon's music. So, luckily, I can just always throw on other music in the background. Let's see what else. I also played more of Paper Mario 1,000 Year Door remake on the Switch because, again, that's still a fantastic game. It's funny because V will be sitting there playing her traditional JRPG in Dragon Quest 10, 11, whatever the most recent one was, and I'll be sitting there playing Paper Mario, very Americanized RPG, in that we both have our RPG preferences. I don't remember what else because I didn't touch my PlayStation. The Switch was just basically Paper Mario. Monster Hunter Wilds. That was the only other thing I really played, so nothing new there. Okay. Now, we got a bunch of different news topics to get to. And the first one, we kind of hinted at this in our prior conversations. I know Alex and I talked a lot about this last week, so we're going to mash two of these together. But basically, the marathon delay is, or I should say there's probably going to be a marathon delay as Sony has canceled all paid marketing plans. And this comes from the Game Post written by Zuhad Ali, basically just saying that between the theft scandal, Bungie apologizing but blaming a former employee, and Alex and I talking about how fucked up management is at Bungie. Well, Sony has canceled all paid marketing for the marathon, and that generally means that they're not ready to release the game. Information comes from Colin Moriarty, who shared the news in a episode of Sacred Symbols podcast. And this comes from somebody familiar with the marketing efforts in the overseas market. It's considered a fairly unusual move for a game this high profile. So if Sony is canceling the marketing, and we know marketing is not cheap, the lead here is that they're saying, well, Marathon's probably going to get delayed. So between the claims of content theft, between the claims of Marathon not looking the greatest, I don't know what to make of the situation. You think Bungie, who's basically working on Destiny and this, that they'd be able to manage two projects, but it seems all but true. Tricky, any thoughts on this issue?
Sorry, I just stepped away for a second. I'm gonna let the other guys go first, so I can just catch up on the conversation real quick.
Okay. Alex?
Well, I guess, any news about Bungie is bound to be bad news. I mean, when was the last time we heard anything good or like uplifting when it comes to Bungie? I mean, this is Marathon, obviously incredibly popular back in the day, and you kind of have the reverse of, well, I mean, the game hasn't come out yet, so I don't know how much we can really say, but it's in danger of becoming the opposite of what Doom has done, where Doom has made the successful revival, and Marathon is like kind of, even before it's out, there's a lot of seemingly negative feelings towards it, a lot of apathy in general, and it seems within Sony, like, even, some trepidation when it comes to the project. And if you're Sony, like, you bought Bungie when Destiny 2 was on the downward slope. And again, Destiny 2, I said it last week, I'll say it again, very successful game, but Sony didn't get it during its highest days or during its heyday. They got it more towards the end of its life cycle. And now they have Marathon along on top of all these issues of Bungie, and you kind of need a Marathon to hit, especially if you're Bungie. Like, if you were afraid of Sony taking over or, coming in and trying to give it, put some Sony shine on it, flex a little muscle, you need a Marathon to do, sell really well. And you need at least to be coming out in a more positive light and having a lot more grease behind the wheels when it comes to a lot more turbo to the engine when it comes to the lead up to the game's release. And, any kind of hesitation by Sony or any kind of stalling around Marathon or any kind of like just in general apathy towards that game is going to hurt Bungie. So this can only make the situation worse. Like, you cannot, when you think that Bungie has gone as bad as they can get, or like when they're like the confidence level in Bungie is at an all-time low, it can always get worse. So this, it'll be interesting to see, and I'm not saying good or entertaining or happy. Like, it'll be interesting to see what happens to Bungie if for some reason Marathon is a flop, Marathon doesn't come out. Can you imagine Sony has to shutter Firewalk after the disaster that was we talked about this game so damn much, and now I can't remember the name of it. Anybody help me out?
Blanking.
Yeah, ditto.
Has it been long enough where we forgot about this game? Anyway, Firewalk got closed because their game flopped. Concord? And now, can you imagine what happens to Bungie if like they... Okay, thank you, Yield. Concord. Like the grapes. Concord grape jelly. But, like, how bad would it be for Bungie for Marathon to just completely fuck up? I don't know. Like, if they drop the ball with Marathon, Sony's got, like, laser sights on them because it's like, we spent this much money on you, and you have been a constant headache. We bought Housemarque over here, and, like, we bought them for a steal, and, like, we were just happy that their game sold 500,000 copies. And then we look at you assholes, and we spend all this money on y'all, and y'all are fucking up. Like, Housemarque is like the great kid that you brag about that gets straight A's, and then Bungie is like the fuck up who's like, I don't want to go too deep with this analogy, but they're just, they're truants to school. They don't show up for school. They're off jacking around, getting some breakfast, and then like hanging out at the mall when they should be at school. I don't know. It just seems like this whole Bungie-Sony relationship isn't working out, and it's simply because Bungie has been so poorly mismanaged that now Sony's got to clean up the mess.
I think if Marathon doesn't do well, you will see Sony come in and establish dominance. Yield?
Can they establish dominance?
Great question. I'm sure their lawyers will find a way. Yield?
Sony pulls its marketing, that's not a good sign. And on top of that, they could, in my humble opinion, they could always redirect that marketing to a different game because, you've got other release windows coming out. So it's just, Alex is right. They needed this to click. They needed everything to go smooth, and it's not looking good for Bungie.
Tricky?
So I'm wondering, when it comes to, sorry, Tricky, I know, Matt, real quick, just a question, when it comes to allocation of funds, is Sony allocating funds to Bungie like they do other studios, or is Bungie just running on what they make as a studio? Because if they're allocating funds to Bungie, they could always say, if y'all are going to fuck up, we're going to dry up those funds and you're all not going to get as much, which means effectively, hey, you got to lower your head count. You got to do all these other things. You people can't take raises. There's hiring freezes. I don't know if there's if Sony is giving them money, to work on projects like Marathon, depending, we obviously don't know the contracts or how things really work between Sony and Bungie, but theoretically they could always say, we're just going to give you all less money to do what you do.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about this because I'm reading the article analysis and, it's coming from a source and they're saying they don't know if the marketing was ever planned or not planned, and they don't. This whole thing's weird. But Alex, I want to go back to something you said. You said that the original Marathon was critically acclaimed.
Well, it was very popular. I feel like whenever I've heard about that game, because I was super young in the 90s, I was 10 or 11. I mean, I wasn't I didn't know anything about Marathon, but whenever I hear people talk about Marathon, it was very much seemed like a success story. Hey, these guys made Halo, but they also made Marathon. It seems like there's rose-tinted glasses, and maybe not necessarily rose-tinted glasses in a bad way, but people look back on that very fondly. So I don't know critically what they got or, what the sales were, but it always seemed like Marathon was something people look back on fondly. Because why else would you bring it back if it wasn't looked at fondly?
I don't know. It says it came out in '94 for the Mac. I just don't know. That seems a little weird. And I remember when Marathon was announced and they said, "Oh, we're bringing back a classic." Everybody, I remember a lot of people going, "Huh? What? I don't even remember this game. I've never even heard of Marathon before this."
Ditto.
Before they announced the next. What was that, Yield?
Yeah, that was me. Ditto.
Yeah. So I don't know. Bungie seems to be making a lot of mistakes. Now people are coming out saying that it's very toxic to work there. I don't know. I think Sony needs to step in long before this game comes out. There's a launch date for this, right? It's September something?
Great question.
I think there was a launch date. I think I saw that in the article you posted.
Well, I mean, if you have a launch date of September and you're pulling marketing, you have all summer to market this game, and you would assume it's a pretty big game, and what else are you going you've got Ghost of Yotei, so obviously you want to market that, but Sony not marketing one of their big games, we know that Sony has that thing every year that they've been doing, at least for the last 2 or 3 years running, where they release that grid of diamonds, where it's look at all these great games we got coming out. So the idea that Sony's just not going to market this game or cancel it is just kind of ridiculous. I can't see them just not marketing it. Or maybe them not marketing it is their middle finger to Bungie, being we're not going to spend any more money on this shit. Release the game, do whatever, we're not going to spend any more money on it.
It does say it's supposed to come out September 23rd.
So yeah, and that's where the article basically says, based on the consideration that Sony's canceling their marketing, that a delay is probably going to be announced sometime soon. All right. Well,
I mean, one last question: is it possible that they cancel the marketing because they know the game's going to be delayed, and that the marketing will come back when it's closer to the actual release date?
This is a chicken or egg.
I mean, are we
scenario.
reading too much into this?
Oh, it's a chicken or egg scenario. You don't know which one is true.
That is true. All right.
All right. Not delayed, but also not continuing anymore. Coming from the PlayStation blog, PlayStation stars coming to a close as SIE evaluates new ways to evolve future loyalty program efforts. Wasn't it just a couple months ago we covered that Sony was canceling their rewards program? And we were all kind of sitting there going, well, how much longer does PlayStation Stars have on this?
Well, remember, Stars had gone away for a bit. Like, you couldn't use Stars.
Nobody could explain why it went away.
Well, the rumor was it got hacked.
Well, rumors are rumors until they're proven.
Who the fuck is going to spend their time hacking PlayStation Stars? Like, just to give themselves more, like, credits, more money? Like, is that digital currency? Is that what they're hacking it for?
Well, like, I'm just speculating here, but if they can find a way to get extra coins, then they could probably get unlimited PSN credit from the cards. That's where I would go with it.
So to continue on with the article, it's basically saying as of the date of the article, which was I don't know, a couple days ago, May 21st. Starting on May 21st, PlayStation Stars will no longer accept new members for this version of the program, which I think is very interesting wording. If members choose to cancel their Stars membership starting today, it will not be possible to rejoin. The members will lose all earned points at that point. Current PlayStation Stars members can still earn digital collectibles points and level up their status until July 23rd, 2025. After that date, there will be no new PlayStation Star campaigns. And this version of PlayStation Stars programs will fully end on November 2nd, 2026. And current PlayStation Stars members continue to redeem points as long as their points don't expire. So it seems like, I don't know what the difference is by saying members can still earn digital collectibles points and level up their status until July 23rd, 2025. And then this version of the PlayStation Stars program will fully end on November 2, 2026, over a year and a half now. Tricky, can you enlighten me what the difference there is?
I have not a clue. I couldn't tell you.
You don't use Okay.
I use PlayStation Stars, but like I don't. Maybe they're saying that you can earn stuff up until July, but you could redeem them up till November. I don't know. I'm confused about what the hell this is.
I mean, I agree with Matt. I thought the same thing when I saw that. It doesn't make sense that you're going to end it here in basically a month, 2 months. It's the end of July, and so
yeah.
So you're going to end it. Can't earn anything. But you have a year and a half to redeem everything. I figured by the end of the year, it'd be like use it or lose it by the end of the year, not a year and a half. So that just seems odd to me.
Is it a year and a half?
Well, yeah, it's November of 26.
Yeah, it's a weird timeline. I don't know what the purpose is. You think something like why even keep it open for that long if you're just getting rid of it? I don't know. Alex, any thoughts?
Well, I guess get your credits or spend your money while the getting's good. I'm really glad, and this is why, like, they had those little enamel pins, those little digital collectibles that you could spend your coins on and display in your little case. And like, granted, I've done the campaigns they put out there. If they're free campaigns, I've done them. So it's kind of annoying that the program's going away. But this is also why I didn't spend any coins on the little enamel pins. They look cool because they were like little PlayStation characters. Like, they were the faces and heads of little PlayStation characters, and they look nice. But it's a digital collectible that I knew someday was just going to go away, and here we are. Like, campaigns are going to end. They're going to do some new version of Stars. All this stuff is going to go away and get erased. So it's like, next time Sony has one of these campaigns, like, I'm just not even going to bother with these loyalty programs because Sony can't get it right. They just discontinue them. They start them. You get a few rewards and they discontinue them. So what's the point?
It's also buggy as hell because like you're supposed to be able to launch a game and get a certain number of coins. I didn't get a lot of times that didn't happen, and their timing is also horrible too because it's like. You buy a game on day one, it comes out, and then like a week later it goes, oh, buy this game, and you get 75 points or 100 points. I mean, there's a program right now on PlayStation Stars where it says get the get the opening trophy in Assassin's Creed Shadows. I have the damn trophy. Now I can't get that reward because I can't go back and unlock that trophy. Like, their timing was just horrible with this. So there was lots of faults with this.
Well, and those campaigns, they're obviously time limited. So, like, if you buy Assassin's Creed Shadows a year down the line, you can't get that reward because usually they last for like a month or so. So there's like that FOMO that they're trying to build in there, where they're like, "Hey, this campaign's going on right now. If you want it, you better go buy this game." Getting enticing you to spend money.
Yeah,
and you mentioned
what about the ones that? What about the ones where you buy the game day one and then like a week later or 3 days? It happened like 3 days later. I bought a game and I can't unlock it. And also, like now, like the Last of Us collection just came out, and it was like, oh, buy the Last of Us collection, you get like 50 points or 75 points. I can't even buy the game because I bought the previous versions of the game, and also, for some reason, the previous versions are not allowing me to buy this version, so I can't even get the damn thing. Like it's some of the decisions they made with this is just stupid.
Well, and again, like you mentioned, the bugginess where like I'll start a campaign, and granted, I don't know, maybe it's on me, but no, fuck it, it's not on me, it's on Sony. You'll start a campaign, and then you'll go play a game, and it won't give you credit for playing the game. Like, you do the exact thing they asked you to do, right, and it's not giving you credit for it. Now, the other night, I played one of the games before I started the campaign, or hit start campaign on the app, and then, like, it's not giving me credit for doing it. And then so I play another game that would qualify, and it's not giving me credit for it. It's not giving me the 50 coins. So there is that bugginess where, and this has happened a few times, where you're doing the actual, like, what they ask of you, the requirements, and it's not giving you the credit for being done, which is really annoying.
Right. It's been buggy as hell. I mean, I think that's part of the reason why they're canceling it is because of how buggy it is. Like, it's just weird. Instead of coming out with a message and saying, "Hey, listen, there's some technical issues. We got to shut it down for a while," they're just outright saying, "Oh, we're just going to shut down the entire thing," which is going to piss off people.
Well, think about how sad that is. That in 2025, Sony can't make a loyalty program that's not buggy.
Let's discuss how Sony can't make a system or support something that supports their main PlayStation brand that isn't buggy or problematic or incomplete or not supported. It seems like
that's the PlayStation ports, Matt. That's the PC ports. Sorry, the PC ports.
Well, no, I'm just PlayStation VR 2, PlayStation Vita. Like somebody has a good idea.
VR 2 is not a thing. VR 2 is not a thing. That
doesn't exist.
That's a figment of your imagination.
Doesn't exist at all.
So it is a thing.
That's just a VR 1 that they slapped a 2 on. All right. Well, the good news is Sony isn't really always out to get its supporters, because coming up, article by GameRant, Dalton Cooper says PlayStation Plus leak suggests you may want to wait on renewing your subscription. All this article is basically going to say is that by the time this podcast come out, we'll know if this is a fact or not. Sony is rumored to bring back its Days of Play event for 2025 on May 28th. And if accurate, it'll last until June 11th. And usually around when they have those types of events, they'll have some discounts, including things like PS Plus, maybe a system, maybe some hardware. I don't know. Tricky, what do you think the likelihood of all this is?
I mean, it's pretty much duh. I mean, we know this is going to happen. I'm not taking a shot at you, Matt, but like articles like this, they're pointless. This is just clickbait. Like, oh, I didn't have anything to write about this today, so this is what I'm going to write. We know this shit happens. To say, like, even in the article, it says, oh, get your discounts during Black Friday. Like, no shit, Sherlock. I don't know. Sorry. I'm in a bad mood this week. I apologize.
Apology not accepted. We're allowed to be in bad moods. Alex, you think this will be a thing?
I mean, at some point they will discount and I can't remember all the times and all the promotions they've discounted PlayStation Plus, but at some point, yeah, they'll give you a discount on PlayStation Plus. They're just hoping that you don't wait till then. But for anybody's on the fence or anyone who's been skeptical, yeah, I mean, these kind of promotions may be the thing that pushes them over and gets them to buy in. So, and I'm already with my PlayStation Plus subscriptions, I think in July is going out. So I've got like maybe a month and a half left to go, and I'm debating whether I should re-up at all. So, I mean, it would be really nice if this promotion happened soon and I could get a discount on it. Maybe that would sway me. Be like, oh, well, it's, $30 off. Oh, that's right. I couldn't play Helldivers if I don't have.
No.
Well, Yield, I don't know if you listened to me earlier, but I'm on Vernon Wells. I'm jacking around on Vernon Wells while you guys are defending Super Earth. So I don't know how much help I'm giving you all. But
I heard you. I've defended Super Earth a little bit, and then I've also gone and taken care of bugs just because I'm tired of the squids. They annoy me.
Yield, did we get your opinions on this?
No, you didn't. If you've been around the PlayStation ecosystem long enough, especially in the PlayStation Plus days, they normally do 2 discounts a year. The Days of Play, which is midsummer, so July, and Black Friday. So, those are your best 2. And that's digitally. Physically, it's normally Black Friday. So those are your 2 times a year. If you want to re-up for cheaper, that's when you do
it. Well, you heard him, folks. Be on the lookout. Grab some discounts while you can. Also being on the lookout, coming from Gaming Bible, written by Kate Harold, Uncharted fans unite over Nathan Drake returning for prequel. Reddit user asked, will there be another Uncharted game? And obviously there's a lot of people asking that, but Naughty Dog's Neil Druckmann confirmed that the studio is working on a secondary project alongside their already announced Intergalactic, The Heretic Prophet. Druckmann confirmed that they'd be acting only as producer and mentor for the game, essentially confirming prior rumors to be true. So anyways, all of this is to say that people are thinking that this is potentially a Uncharted prequel, which I don't know. I have thoughts on the fact that we just need another Uncharted just to have another Uncharted. I'm conflicted. The Uncharted is a fantastic series. I don't think we need a prequel, but I may be in the minority there. Tricky.
We kind of had a prequel in 4 where we had flashbacks of finding out who Sam was, so no, we don't need a sequel.
No, you had a prequel, and damn it, what was it called? The Golden Abyss.
Golden Abyss.
Yeah, I don't.
When was the scene with young Drake in the museum? Was that 3 or 4?
That was 4.
Was it okay. 4? I thought it was 3.
You could say
no, because he was going through with Sam.
You can say which was the scene with young Drake and end the sentence there, and that's all the games. All the games have flashbacks. All the games have some sort of prequelish system for it. I don't even know what they could do. Like it's part of the dynamics.
Do I want another? I'm sorry, we're talking about each other. Do I want another Uncharted game? Yes. Do I want it to be a prequel? No.
I don't know if I want another Uncharted game. Like, Lost Legacy was fine. Because even I said, after 4, if you do something, do it with the characters you got. If Nate and Elena show up, they're in a cutscene, you're not playing as them. But it's been however many years since we've had Lost Legacy that I'm okay with where we're at. So, there's no need to go back and try to fill in the gaps or to continue on the story. Just make another type of, action adventure game. In my opinion.
Yeah. I think it would be nice for them to go to like a new IP down to earth. Obviously Intergalactic is going to be something special, but something else. I don't know. Alex?
For me, young Drake only works in certain segments, like small snippets in each game, which is fine. Doing those as flashbacks, talking how he met Victor Sullivan, but part of the appeal of the entire series is like the hand-to-hand combat or like just the combat itself and the love stories, Nate and Elena, you throw Chloe in there for a little love triangle, but all that makes the series far more interesting. When you have a young Drake, a lot of that goes out the door because you're not going to have the love story. You're not going to have, the more adult conversations and more adult content. And like the gunplay and stuff like that is toned down because you're not going to have a teenage Drake tone down an assault rifle. Or, just the whole tone of the thing changes. And so
yeah, the combat totally changes.
I don't want. I'll take small like story based snippets of when young Drake, when Nathan Drake was young. I don't want that to be the entire game. And like if you're just this also could be a way for them to bring back. We know the end of 4, or if you play the end, you played through 4, you know the end of 4. This could be just a way for them to bring back. They could just do a game that's set before the Uncharted Drake's Fortune, which honestly I don't really want. I don't know. If you're talking about a prequel, then why did you do the end of 4 the way you did the end of 4? So
unless you do,
if you're gonna do anything
long enough, you could spoil it.
Play as Cassie.
Yeah, like you introduced, and spoiler, but you introduced Drake's daughter, Drake and Elena's daughter, at the end of 4. Do something with her. I don't know. Maybe some way she's like her father, but in reverse, where she meets like a strapping young lad, her beau. So she's essentially Elena, but she finds her Drake somewhere at the world, like chasing treasures and whatnot. Like the treasure that her parents couldn't find, she sets out to find. I don't know. But again, if you're just going to do another Drake-led story, why'd you bring Cassie in at all?
It would, yeah, because it couldn't be, it couldn't be an Uncharted cut and paste because it just, I don't know. To me, I don't know about what everybody else would say, but to me, it wouldn't feel right. Like it would be cool in a sense that you're, Cassie, like Alex said, you're going after a treasure that your parents couldn't find. Okay, I can go with that story. But if all you're doing is going around killing a bunch of people like Nate did, then it just doesn't. I don't know. It just feels like all you're doing
at that point just be Nate.
Yeah, you're trying to be Nate but with a female, and you're just trying to capitalize on the Uncharted name. You would have to kind of go in a different direction with the game. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, but you could. I mean, the same argument can be made for. Was it Lost Legacy? The 4 DLC was Lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say the same thing about playing as Nadine and Chloe in Lost Legacy. Like, yeah, they were established character. Yeah, they're badasses, but I mean, it's essentially Uncharted. Just you're playing as a female character, so they could do the same thing with Cassie, but the problem is they haven't established Cassie as a badass as they did Chloe and Nadine. So it to Yield's point, it would be a little off-putting, but they can still do it because they've done it. But it would just be a little off-putting because you don't have any kind of a story of Cassie being a badass.
Well, you didn't have that either for Nadine or Chloe, and they had to build around that from the ground up.
But they did that over the course of what, 2 or 3 games?
Chloe's only in one game.
Wait.
Or Chloe's in 2 games, but they built her up in 1 game, which was 2.
What if we're looking at this all wrong?
All right.
What if they're doing a prequel about Sully?
I'm out.
I don't think anybody would play that.
If you got the same voice actor, I'm willing to go for a walk and see where it goes.
I mean,
this may be a hot take, but go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, it could be a couple things. It could be him mentoring Nathan through various grifts and things. It could be himself, Sully himself going through various scams and explorations. I don't know. If anything, I just feel that there is if they're doing a prequel, they got to do something different because every Uncharted has had some like bigger arc, something, whether it's Nathan saving his brother, whether it's the whatever happened at the end of 2 with that weird blue stuff. I don't see them being able to shoehorn something in Nathan's earlier years to match the same type of I don't know, epicness that they've had. Sorry, Alex, go ahead.
No, I mean, I don't really want to play a Victor Sullivan led game because I like Sully as a character, but he's always been portrayed as a sidekick, a side character. Because I mean, the first time we met him, he was older, so it's not like he's not the main ass kicker. It's Drake, but Sully he's always been. There are serious moments with Sully, especially in the first game, but he's always been like a very unserious character, kind of like comedic relief in a lot of ways, like the old pervert who says really gross things to the younger like girls, which it's kind of fucked up that I say I like that character, and then that's like, oh, he says this shit, but like he has a really good relationship with Drake, and they've really built that well, and like even though he does have that like kind of gross side to him, like I don't know, you feel like he's not as serious about it. I don't know, but he's always just been the side guy. And so I don't see him as a main guy. I see him as the guy that's there because his relationship with Drake. And Drake's the guy. And like I feel like you would have to build a new character, and I just can't take Sully serious as like it's like playing Daxter, the single player Daxter game, or playing as Clank and not Ratchet and Clank. It's just like I just don't want to do this because I can't take this character seriously as a main guy.
Alrighty. Well, moving on to our final story, coming from Game Pressure, Olga Rasanowska, one of those. So Mike Pondsmith, who is labeled the mastermind behind the Cyberpunk universe, shared some news about a sequel to Cyberpunk 2077. And they revealed that players will finally get to leave the iconic Night City. And this is basically talking about Project Orion, which CD Projekt Red has I guess officially put out there. And that, a lot of Cyberpunk 2077 was dealing with Night City and the events surrounding it. But that the new game, who knows when it comes, maybe 20 years down the line, is that we'll be able to leave Night City and go somewhere else. Now, I'm not as familiar with Cyberpunk's history and lore as I'm sure other people are out there, some of our listeners, and I hate to call a spade. I don't think you guys are either. But for those who have played Cyberpunk, what do you think about getting to leave the city that you became familiar with? Tricky, did you play Cyberpunk?
How about I did not, but how about after the disaster launch of Cyberpunk and the bad reports that we've gotten on The Witcher 4 already, how about you focus on one game before you start talking about another game and a sequel of a game?
What bad reports of Witcher 4?
That they don't like the fact that you're not playing as Geralt or
Geralt.
Geralt.
Okay, so
Geralt?
First and foremost, to take a sidetrack, anybody who is complaining that you're not getting to play as Geralt, deal with it. If that's the only bad reports, then okay. But moving on back to the story, you're right. Focusing on one game, especially when it took them how long to get freaking Cyberpunk out the door. Yeah.
And it was a bad launch, and how many bad stories did we hear about, them not doing a good job with the game? It's just focus on one game before we start talking about a sequel to a game that, I know you made the joke, but it's at least 10 years out. Let's focus on one game, get that out the door, because just going on comments that Alex has previously made about CD Projekt Red, like they've lost a lot of trust, and not that Alex was going out and buying every one of their games, but like Alex said, he's very hesitant about buying another game from them because of the way they launched Cyberpunk. Don't just focus on one damn game, please.
Well, I mean, they can. And first of all, I've never bought a Hi Cosmo. I've never bought a single CD Projekt Red game, so we'll say
Cosmo
that.
agrees with me.
But I know what happened with Cyberpunk certainly did not encourage me to change that and go buy something of theirs. So, and that's not me saying that like the Witcher games are not good quality. I just never jumped into them. It's just I just never did. But they can always think about where they're going to take Cyberpunk next. I'm sure there's going to be a sequel. You built that universe, you built that IP, so you might as well, worry about launching it better next time. But, leaving the city, first of all, I didn't even know you were just in the city and, like, never left it. I don't know how that game progressed, don't know the location, didn't know all that. But this is just something that they can plan for the future. I'm sure that CD Projekt Red has, like, do they have 2 teams working on stuff? Like, they can... I'm assuming work on 2 games at once, but surely they can plan for the future while also still work on, The Witcher and disappointing everybody with, or not everybody but Matt with not playing as Geralt.
Well, they can't even focus on one game at a time.
They took away our Geralt in the Netflix series and gave us another one. They gave us a Hemsworth, and now they're taking Geralt all away completely from the games.
Yield, did you do any cyberpunking?
No, I would like to at some point, but I'm waiting to pick it up on the cheap.
All right, so as the only one here that actually played through Cyberpunk, and I had a great time playing it, and not knowing the rest of the universe, I'm fine with exploring other areas. From what I understood, the events that took place in Cyberpunk were kind of like the highlight of the series. So we'll see what else CD Projekt Red can pull. And like I said, and like Tricky alluded to, 10 years minimum, we're not seeing this for. So not something to be concerned of anytime soon. But you know what is concerning? The fact that now 2 weeks in a row, we've put up some posts about listener questions, and we haven't gotten any.
None?
Nope, nothing. So let's try something
that was
a little.
That's as disappointed as I've heard Tricky ever.
Yeah, we're gonna try something new. Stay tuned, folks. So moving on to the topic of the week, this is something I want to bring up to you because this being
whoa,
Jesus Christ, shut up and say it, Tricky.
I'm very disappointed in you, Matt.
In what?
Toe. Topic of the week.
I forgot to edit it.
Well, fine then. Fuck you, Matt.
Right,
it's perfect as it is. Also,
folks.
Fuck you, Matt, for trying to skip that beautiful audio. Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Got you, chicken fucker. I'm sorry, folks. I'm tired. I've been packing the house. V and I are getting ready to put the house up for sale and move. And I am yesterday. Yeah. Okay. Side note. We're only about an hour and 15, so I'm good with this. Yesterday I woke up, went to pack the car with some things to get to the storage unit, then to get a van to start moving more stuff out. And I've been monitoring my tire pressure on one of my tires for a while and thought it was stable. Come out yesterday and it was flat. Put some air in it and I couldn't find a nail. Nope, because the sidewall had been blown out and I had absolutely no way to repair it. So because I do have a high performance car and the only tires that were available at the time did not match the tires I had there, I had to get 4 new tires and an alignment. So fun day yesterday.
And Matt, I had to go through that a few months ago.
Story.
I had to get 4 new tires. Well, we told the story here on the podcast, I think. But yeah, 4 new tires. Freaking sucks, man. I feel your pain.
Anyways, the tire rack credit card got a workout yesterday. But back to our main topic. So recently there was a post put out there that there was leaked audio that captured Sony head Hiroki Totoki saying gamers on PlayStation will need to get adjusted to games going to Xbox, Nintendo, and PC. In the words of one of my favorite movies, Dodgeball, bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works. So it's no secret that Xbox has been out there putting their games on PlayStations, talking about partnerships with Nintendo. PlayStation has seemingly found that they like money by putting their games on PC, albeit in broken states at launch. But for them, allegedly, specifically, to be calling out Xbox and Nintendo, our man out there, Mr. Team and T84, is out there saying that if Sony does this, it's the end of Sony. Yield, we'll go to you first. What do you think about this? PlayStation games showing up on Xbox and Nintendo.
Well, I mean, considering where we're at, how Xbox has shifted to doing that, I mean, you would say, years ago, you would say it would be blasphemy that if you get Gears of War, let alone Halo, on Sony's consoles, and we're pretty much getting Gears of War, and there's a good rumor that we're going to get Halo. So, this is a world that we live in now. Microsoft's been doing it for, 2-3 years, and Sony doesn't like to have Microsoft doing things that they can't do, so it doesn't surprise me that they're going to do it. It's everything will still be like a timed exclusive, I would think. I seriously doubt it'll be day and date for like the Sony's big ticket items. They can't release it broke like they do on their PC ports. It's gotta work. So the old school gamer in me is disappointed because I think exclusives in a way helps make the industry better, because if you're putting out exclusive good games, then that drives your competitor to want to beat you. But that's not the world we live in now. So timed exclusives are what you get. So it's just, it's the gaming world that we live in, that now that barrier has been broken, everybody's going to want to do it, except for Nintendo. I don't think you'll ever see Nintendo cave to where you'll see Zelda and Mario and Pokemon on anything other than Nintendo. At least not in my lifetime.
And that's you bring it up that you're seeing competitors now play ball together, because I think they realize that there's money to be made. And yeah, it kind of leaves the only area left of timed exclusives. And I still think each is going to hold something in reserve. They're not going to just put every game out there.
Correct. I agree.
Hiroki's statement is kind of aimed. It seems more aimed at those who are ferociously defending their territory on their favorite system. It seems to be the case, because they're the ones out there still fanning the flames of console wars, saying my system is better than your system, and I have everything, you have nothing. It just seems to me to be, again, a way of saying the console wars should be coming to an end. That's when we all get to play together. That's the best. Alex, your thoughts?
Excuse me. I think that Sony were definitely watching, because Microsoft is the first side that took this step. And I mean, let's be real, we haven't really gotten one of their biggest hits yet that I can think of. I mean, yeah, they put some games over, Hi-Fi Rush, which, by the way, they closed that studio after that. They put Grounded. They put some games, and I'm not saying they didn't put good games, but it's not their biggest games, even though we're supposed to be getting rumored, at least older games in classic series for Xbox. But here's hoping for Blinks the Cat. So, when these statements are made, everyone thinks that this means that everything they make is going to go over. And just because, some of their biggest games, say, they put out, Horizon or Ghost of Yotei or some of these other games, doesn't necessarily mean that those games are going to the Xbox or to the Nintendo. They could put a couple games. They could work together and work to break down those walls and say, hey, we're not going to give you your biggest hits, but we'll give you something. A game that could really benefit or could have benefited from something like this was, I mean, people talked about it, Helldivers. Sony putting Helldivers on Xbox, but by this point, I mean, would it even matter? I mean, maybe. You would definitely get some sales, but most of the fervor surrounding that game is past. So that's a game that could have benefited greatly from Xbox. You also look at a game like Returnal from Housemarque. I mentioned Housemarque earlier. That's a great game, and Sony seemed happy with the sales, but it also, I don't think, when we were talking about the sales, it was around 500,000. You put that on Xbox, maybe you double that, maybe you get it to 1 million. So there are definitely some games, like maybe a Ratchet and Clank. There are some games that would definitely benefit from that, but it also doesn't behoove Sony. I guess in any situation, they got to look on a case-by-case basis. Does it hurt the brand more to put that game on another console? And I just don't know if that's the case with some games. Like, if you put Helldivers on to an Xbox, I don't think that hurts the Sony brand. But it most definitely increases the sales for Arrowhead and, whatever Sony's cut is. So you got to remember, like, is it kind of like a cold, like, splash of water on the face to hear a Sony executive saying that? Yes, but you also got to remember 2025. Microsoft has kind of already broken down this wall and extended their hand, like the olive branch with some of their games. You've got a brand new CEO in there. A lot of the Sony old guard is now gone. And again, for some games that would really benefit from being on multiple consoles, even if they're owned by and published by Sony, you might get that in the future because it's just going to help Sony out financially.
Yeah, it's like I said, Sony putting their games on PlayStation or on PC is a way for them to earn more money, and Hiroki is definitely a business-minded individual, all in line with Jimmy Ryan's plan. But we'll see what this comes as. Tricky, your thoughts on this whole alleged statement?
What? Why would you say that name? You know it's just gonna summon somebody.
Yeah, well, hasn't summoned him before. He's too busy being their filthy reseller.
Come on, y'all. He's a smart guy. He's surely seen that good old Jim Ryan was a snake oil salesman who fucked around too much with Sony's money.
Nah, he thinks he's never mind. I was gonna say something blasphemous. I'm gonna leave that alone.
He's the Shuhei of the Yoshidas.
No, I was gonna say something worse than that. I don't know if I necessarily believe the story. I don't want to be the person that does this, but it's like there's no proof this actually was said, and I can't see Sony doing this.
Hiroki Totoki was talking to Tricky.
He's got the scoop.
Sure. I just don't see this happening. It's like I think the fact that Xbox games are coming to Sony and the PlayStation ecosystem, I think Sony is very happy with that. I think they're calling this a win because they're seeing their biggest competitor basically give up. We've been saying for years about how Microsoft was basically becoming the next Sega and just, giving up and saying, oh, we're going to sell our systems here. With the fact that, Game Pass and they're putting their games on PC. We were saying for years, like, what's the sense of buying an Xbox anymore? And you guys kind of touched on it last week's episode where you were talking about, like, the developers, like, why are we even making Xbox games anymore? It doesn't make sense. And I can't see Sony, who has such a lead in the console space, give it up and saying, you know what, we're actually going to put our games on Xbox and Nintendo now. I don't see that happening.
I don't see that as giving up, though. I see them as saying there's money to be made there.
But I think they make more money by keeping their games exclusive because then people are buying into the PlayStation ecosystem. Because you got to figure if they're selling their games on Microsoft is definitely taking a cut of that money. Where if they're selling their games strictly on the PlayStation, they don't have to chip in another person.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week to say if you're developing for another system, then the juice better be worth the squeeze because you're developing resources and whatnot to a port. Or do they consult that out to another company like they've done for PC?
Well, isn't the company that's doing the PC ports, aren't they under the PlayStation brand?
I don't know the official details of all that.
Well, they have a studio, Nixies, I think, that helps with the porting of PC, like has PC porting experience and ports the game to PC, or at least is one of the companies that does that.
Yeah, but isn't that a PlayStation? I won't say it's a PlayStation Studios studio, but aren't they like owned by Sony?
They are under the PlayStation Studios branding, yes.
Yeah, so you're like Matt was just saying, like you're dedicating resources and labor and all the stuff to port your games to other consoles. Like it, the profit has got to be somewhat where it's worth doing that, and I just don't see how that's working out. Like we've said for many years, like we don't understand how Microsoft makes money off of Game Pass because all their first party games go straight to Game Pass. So all that money that you're putting into developing your first party games, you're making no profit off of that.
Well, you're
no
making your
additional
subscription
profit,
profit. Like imagine, like how many first party games really does Microsoft put out every year? And you think if you get people for, and I don't know what the price of Xbox Game Pass is now, but you get $15 to $20 a month from people, and they put out one or two like games a year from Xbox Game Studios. It might be more than that. They may put out a big game and a few smaller games, but you've basically got everyone who subscribed to Game Pass to basically essentially buy those games.
And
true, but
remember, if what Yield said earlier has any weight to it, it's these companies who are porting the games over, they're waiting for jobs. Like they're if their job predominantly is porting games over, they need a job to do. So to that point, if Sony puts out a game on PlayStation day one, they get those initial sales, then they go to the people who's porting their games and they go, all right, you're up. Take this, decompile it, convert it, get it out on the other system. Maybe it's like 6 months after launch. It's a viable strategy. It's no different than what they do to PC right now.
I don't know. Just when I look, and obviously we don't have the numbers. Like we're not seeing the the cost and development and all this other stuff behind it. But when I look at like Game Pass, Game Pass is making we'll just take your number, Alex, $20 a month. At $20 a month, not only does that $20 a month have to pay for all your first party studio developers, it also has to chip into the money that they're spending to bring games to Game Pass that are not first party games, because they have to pay those developers and those publishers a certain amount of money to do that. And that's why I've said, and I think you guys have said, at some point, like we don't understand how Game Pass is profitable. With Sony starting to do that, it doesn't make sense to me. So like, this is just a report that an audio came out, but I would think that if this story comes out, then somewhere this audio has got to be somewhere on the internet somewhere. Why is that not being put out there? Why is that not being shown to the public and saying this is what he actually said?
So
I don't.
This was just a news article, right? That someone quoted him as saying, right?
It was.
They're saying that There's an audio rip of him saying this. Like they got audio of him saying this.
I'm interested in actually, like Tricky said, I'm interested in hearing the actual audio, but the problem is it's going to be in Japanese, and therefore there's going to be translation questions and intent questions. However, going back to your statement, Tricky, $20 a month. And the last numbers we had on Game Pass were reported in 2024 at 34 million subscribers. Now, give or take how that number fluctuates. But at the time, and not everybody is paying $20. Maybe some were doing PC Game Pass, which is just like $10 a month. So if you're looking at that versus 34 million, let's see. You're Microsoft was raking in somewhere between 340 million to 680 million a month on Game Pass. Give or take. I know that's a very wide margin, but you talk about profitability, right. Even at the low end, 340 million a month. I don't see how the question is of how Game Pass is profitable or not, when we know the average amount it takes to make some video games. We're not talking Grand Theft Autos. We're not talking, I don't know what Grand Theft Auto is the perfect example, but looking at 340 million a month on Game Pass, and that was in 2024's money. But now, what potentially is being talked about is Sony saying our games will show up on other systems. To Yield's point earlier, we have no idea how that's going to take place. Is it day and date? I don't think so. Just like they came around and said PlayStation Plus, we're not going to have many games day and date. We're not doing what Microsoft does. We don't believe that's the right way. So if they do this, they're going to do it in a way that makes sense to them, that is profitable. Unlike, buying Bungie, I think they're going to make a smart decision with what they're going to do here.
Also, just to note, I don't know, I haven't seen a news article says this, but I heard somebody say that, it was confirmed that we're getting Gears of War. And then I also heard in the same breath that we're getting the new Gears of War game on PlayStation day and date. I don't know if that's part's true or not. I haven't seen anything where it actually confirmed that, but now we're getting what I think it was Gears of War XS or something like that.
Gears of War
what was it called?
E-Day is the new game.
E-Day, sorry, yeah. E-Day. Yeah. Which is gonna be interesting. I don't know. I know I'm gonna be playing Gears of War though.
Yes, I think most of us will be playing Gears of War. Alrighty, well, that's all I got for this. Anybody else before we close everything out? All right, well,
I'm good.
On to shoutouts. Yield.
Shout out to Matt for putting together the show notes and recording this evening along with Alex and Tricky. Shout out to everybody who was hanging out in the Discord lobby.
Nobody came in.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe there was
nobody
somebody.
came in.
Nobody came. Oh, okay. Well, shout out to nobody. It's a good movie. Second one will be good too. See what I did there? Shout out to all the pimps and madams of the Whoredom. Thank you for listening, downloading, hanging out with us, playing games. Shout out to Nitro and the Brain 76 for some Helldivers. Matter of fact, if they're still playing when we're done here, that's probably what I'm going to go do. Shout out to Vacation, because I'm on vacation now, so that's awesome.
Yay.
We're going to call that good for the week.
Alrighty. Alex?
Give a shout out to our community, the fans, the fuel to the fire. There's Trophy Horse, our wonderful listeners. Thank you all for all your support you've ever shown and for continuing to support us here into 2025. We appreciate you all so very much. Give a shout out to my co-host, Matt, Yield, and Tricky. All of us together again just feels right. Last but not least, give a shout out to my loving and awesome girlfriend, Ashley. I love you, hun. And yeah, that is going to be my shoutouts for this episode of 673.
Tricky.
Before my shoutouts, I forgot. I wanted to ask you guys a question since we're all Star Wars nerds. I saw this question posed on Facebook and figured I'd ask you guys to see if you guys knew the answer. What is the only non-droid character to survive all three trilogies?
R2D2.
I don't know.
I'm trying to think, but I also don't want to drag this out super, super far.
No, I'll give you a few seconds. Yield, do you have an answer?
I said R2D2.
I think we lost Yield.
Thrilling
He's deep
audio. Just
deep in thought.
go ahead and give the answer, Tricky.
Chewie. Chewie's the only non-droid character to survive all three trilogies.
Oh, you said non-droid.
Non-droid characters.
Yep.
I
Makes
said-
sense.
Oh, you said non-droid. My bad.
Shout out to the community. Shout out to everybody, like Sweet Mama D, twerp you to Skype, who's making my life hell trying to produce this show. We tried something new with Discord. Doesn't seem to be working out too well, so we'll have to try something different next week. I am trying to get the live shows back up and running, but it's going to take some work. Me and Matt did a technical test the other day. It did not work out the way that I wanted to. So, yeah, that's my shout outs.
All right. Shout out to you, gents, for recording tonight. Shout out to the Channel 3 community. Make sure to check out channel3.gg for some gamified social media. Shout out to all of our listeners. Shout out to anybody engaging us on the Facebook group. Make sure, make this a two-way street. Definitely engage us as well. And then shout out to my wife, V. Thank you for all that you do. Oh, and shout out to Will for his art. I keep having the note here and I keep forgetting that, but thank you for making the art for our show. But yes, thank you, and shout out to my wife, V. With that said, folks, see you on the next episode. This has been Trophy Wars number 673. Happy hunting.
Yep.
Later.
Later.
Matt stole mine, so I stole Alex's.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12th Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.